Mr. Tamsin Atikilipi?
My Lord, as I have testified before the adjournment, I never knew a person in the name of Tamsin Atikilipi prior to September, October 2011. So 2010, December, on the 28th, I never knew a person of such.
Now, according to Mr. Johannes Stephenson, the first time he met Mr. Tamsin Atikilipi was in November 2011. The evidence of the state. Are you with me?
I am with you, my Lord.
November 2011. Now my next question to you would then be, is it possible that Mr. Tamsin Atikilipi could have sent an email to Mr. Johannes Stephenson on 28 December 2010 if they only met in November 2011?
My Lord, it's impractical, it's impossible, unless they were ghosts or spirits to meet.
Okay. Now what Mr. Tamsin allegedly said in this particular email is that, "Good morning, Johannes. The big man just phoned me now to inform me that he won't make it for Swakopmund as it was planned. He got all the documents from his wife. He will update me once he goes through them. Kind regards, Tamsin." Now the state alleges that, and so it was alleged, that the reference there to the big man is you.
My Lord, I'm a small man physically. I'm a short man physically, my Lord. I'm not a big man in all aspects. I was a minister serving on the pleasure of His Excellency, our President.
Okay.
I was not a big man, my Lord.
Now the state,
And I will never be a big man even.
the
I will die as
context,
a short man, my Lord.
Mr. Esau, the context within which the state is referring to you as the big man is that you were the kingpin, in essence, of this corrupt scheme. Do you now understand?
Yes, my Lord.
Okay.
I understand now.
Now, have Mr. James Atikilipi ever called you the big man?
Not at all, my Lord.
Did Tamsin Atikilipi ever call you the big man?
Not at all, my Lord.
Does Johannes Stephenson, in his affidavit that he gave to the state, the one upon which the state relies so heavily, does he refer to you as the big man in that affidavit?
Not at all, my Lord. I can't honestly picked up. I have not picked up such a thing.
Then who is the big man?
I don't know. I can't respond. I can't answer to that, my Lord. I've never been called a big man. No.
Okay. And then what the state also alleges is that you got the documents from, or at least what it's saying here is that you got documents relating to some Herji group of companies and the company profile. You got these documents from your wife.
Yes. My Lord, 2010, both my wife and I for sure never had that very relationship, association of son-in-law or whatever with Tamsin Atikilipi for him to give documents of the nature of my job then as a minister. There is no way that documents was delivered to my wife. I had a PA, I had an office at Brendan Simbwaye, 4th floor. That's where the documents are to be delivered, checked in, and then at least from there sent to me. There's no way that my wife was my secretary to receive documents, my Lord.
There were also further allegations that some documents were even taken to your farm by your wife. Your wife or your daughter would have taken the documents to your farm. Are you aware thereof?
That's what is alleged by Lot. As I've stated, my wife was not my secretary. Everything must come through my office, especially the PA, personal assistant, and not through my wife, my Lord.
Now let's assume there was an error in this email. And it may be 28 December 2011. Did your wife bring you any documents relating to Samerji?
Nothing, my Lord. Even if it's 2011. Because, as I've stated once more again, my wife was not my secretary, my Lord. She's not my secretary to bring me, unless she's bringing maybe an invitation card for a wedding for us, but not documents relating to this. The only documents that I have received from the office maybe was cabinet documents files that was delivered by my drivers at home on mostly Sundays or Mondays, because cabinet sessions were Tuesdays, my Lord.
Now let's go to the top part of that particular email. Now this is apparently an email. The custodian here, you would see at the bottom, is Joanna Stefansson. And Joanna Stefansson, on Tuesday, December 27, 2011, forwarded this email to Jalgerson. Does this email make sense to you? And the time sequence thereof?
My Lord, what I can see on this email, 12th of December 2011 to BSO at mfmr.gov.na.
Sorry, Mr. Esau, on which email are you? We're still on the first page.
Oh, sorry, my Lord.
We're still on the first page.
Sorry.
Let us not get lost.
Oh, yeah, sorry, my Lord. I'm too
I
fast.
know that you said that you are not a big man, but
Can
I'll be there.
my Lord, can you repeat the question for me?
the time sequence here in this particular email, does it make sense to you?
With reference to the date of 27th, 2011, this email was sent from Johannes to his principals there. And then an email for information from Thompson to Johannes, time sequence wise, doesn't make any sense to me. The 28th of December 2010, my Lord.
A year later.
A year before I knew even Thompson.
Okay. And you said you only met Thompson in 2011, correct?
Correct, my Lord.
Okay. Let's go to the second page. This is also an email that was disclosed to the defense. It's from Joanna Stefansson, Monday, 12 December 2011. Letter from Katla. Dear Honorable Bernhardt Esau, thank you for the good meeting last Thursday, 8 December. We attach copy of the letter delivered to your office last Friday. All the best. Are you aware of this particular email?
To my recollection, my Lord, I can't remember of having received such an email referring to a meeting of the 8th of December. Can't recall, my Lord.
So, did you have a meeting with the Samerji group of companies personnel or officials on Thursday, 8 December 2011?
My Lord, to my recollection, December 2011 was that period that rights were granted to new right holders, where in fact our offices, especially my office, was closed for meeting any person interested or applicant interested in fishing rights. And I took that very firm decision that I am not going to meet anybody, my Lord, to be influenced or to be lobbied for rights or for any other matter pertaining to the, and our PS then and was very, very busy with the letters as for those who were successful, and hence, honestly speaking, my Lord, there was no way that I could have met these very people on the 8th of December 2011. That was the time there was a lot of people, offices were open to my, what I have picked up at hotels by people who wanted to lobby for agreements with those right holders, new right holders.
And with that email, there was an attached letter. If you turn the page, do you see that?
Correct, my Lord?
Did you receive this particular letter dated 9 December 2011?
My Lord, I cannot confirm whether I have received this very letter or not. But as I've stated before, my Lord, all correspondences received or sent out from the office of the minister goes through the PA. So if the PA has received this letter, then it must have been, in fact, through the PA that this letter was received by the office of the minister. But this letter's content is contra to my testimony, which I've given in terms of the previous letter.
So let's just quickly break this down. It's a bit confusing. According to the documents that we have here, on the 8th of December, the Samerji group of companies met with you in your office. Correct? According to the documentation.
Correct, my
Yes.
Lord.
That is on the 8th of December.
Correct, my Lord.
On the 9th of December, they then send you a letter. According to the documentation.
Correct, my Lord.
Yes, or delivered a letter. Now come the 27th of December 2011, according to the other documentation, they now want to give their company profile to your son-in-law, to give it to your wife, to give it to you. Does that make sense to you?
Not, my Lord, not even logical sense, my Lord.
Could they have attached the company profile to the letter?
This is...
Could they have? Listen to the question, sir. Could they have attached, if they wanted to send you the company profile?
Could they have attached?
Could they have attached it if they wanted to?
Well, if they wanted to, my Lord, it was their prerogative to attach or not to attach. It was their prerogative, my Lord. But as I've stated before or testified before, my Lord, I have not received a company profile from them through my wife.
But the state also alleges that they found a copy of the company profile at your house. Do you have any response to that?
My Lord, as I've stated before, I am receiving correspondences in a blue kind of a post, kind of a blue file, sealed from the office. And in that very file, they always put all the correspondences for my attention to read. And if I see that these very documents are not really of relevance, I used to dispose them in file 13. That is a place where I normally put issues of non-importance. And that very profiles, which was found in my house, was sent from the office. And it was at the back of my door in the study. That's where they found it, and it was one of the documents that was during the search, warrant of search, found from my house.
And when you say profiles, what do you mean profiles that were found?
No, Comrade, Your Lordship, many companies who are interested in fishing or were interested in fishing, in the fishing sector, used to provide profiles through the offices, through the office of the minister, to me. And that very documents are sent to me to check through. And if those documents are of no interest or no importance, in fact, to put it that way, I put them there because my position as the then minister was not to give rights, fishing rights, to foreigners. I was first looking at you as a Namibian, as a local, before I was considered, and those ones were foreign companies. And secondly, my lord, companies who came with their profiles to me, we had also a system within the ministry to check that those very companies are not listed as IUU, which is the illegal, unregulated, unreported fishing activities in the world. That is why we used to receive profiles to check, and I was also interested in checking, in seeing, to ascertain that those companies are not listed as IUU companies in the world.
So it was not uncommon to receive
It was not
company
uncommon,
profiles.
my lord.
Okay.
I've received profiles from Chinese companies like Pacific Andes. I received profiles of companies like Imsung, the Korean companies. I received a lot of profiles. There was a lot of profiles from my time of being a deputy minister of trade, the time when I was a deputy minister of mines profiles, time when I was a state minister of fisheries and marine resources.
Mm-hmm. If you go to the next page, are you there?
Yes, my lord, I'm there, my lord.
The middle part of the email. It's also an email we received through disclosure. The middle part of the email is dated 29 November 2013. It's an email from James Hatukilipi to Joanna Stephenson and Thamsen. See value addition for MH. It said, the big man told us yesterday that he is very excited. He asked about Katla's energy commitment for land-based operations. I want to leave a legacy. Let me quote, it's in brackets, quote, I want to leave a legacy and change in sector. His words. Now the state alleges that the big man being referred to there is you. So my question to you is, are you the big man, and did you, on the 28th of November, state to James Hatukilipi, and I don't know to who else, that I want to leave a legacy and change in sector? Were those your words?
My lord, I totally distance myself of having said that I want to leave a legacy and change the sector to a person called James Hatukilipi, who is in fact a co-accused in this very case, on the 29th or prior to the 29th of November 2013. That was unheard of, it's uncalled for.
Why would James say that to Joanna Stephenson?
That can only be answered by James Hatuikulipi, why he said that to Stephenson in 2013, where he was not even the chairperson of the board of directors of Fishco.
And on top, there's a reply of an email. You see that? It's from, do you know from who that email is?
Blank, my lord.
It's blank, okay. I guess we must guess. And it was sent on Friday 29 November 2013 to James, Hatuikulipi and Thamson. It was copied to Olason. And the content says, "Hi James, also the sooner we get the big man and the big boss together, the better it will be. We will push from our side to get Mr. Thorsten to Namibia ASAP, and from your side to get the big man to Iceland." Now, Mr. Big Man, sorry, Mr. Small Man, did you go to Iceland?
I have never ever been in Iceland. And I also will never go to Iceland.
And in 2013, 2014, did you ever meet Mr. Thorsten?
Not an iota of a time in 2013, 2014, having no even a person in the name of Thorsten, or even met a person of Thorsten. 2013, 2014?
Yes.
No, my lord.
But they said they will push. Any comment on that?
They will push.
They will push to get the two of you together. To get the two of them together.
In 2013?
Yes.
My lord, there was nothing in my mind, my lord, thinking of even meeting a person of Thorsten, in the name of Master Thorsten. I never had that in mind, my lord. Because 2013, as I've stated before, my lord, yesterday, as I've given evidence, when I give evidence yesterday, my lord, I was saying that end of 2013, that November, December 2013, I was with my terminally ill brother, suffering from pancreatic cancer. I never focused, my lord, on issues like these issues which it brought as evidence that I was conniving or conspiring with any one of these accused people. I was more focused on my family. My lord, I cannot unknown.
But you said you don't know who the big man is.
I don't even know who they refer to the big man to Iceland.
And if we turn the page,
yes, my lord.
Please tell us what is the relevance of that document. What document it is and what is the relevance?
In 2013, this document, a copy of the passport. The relevance is that on the 1st of December 2013, I departed from Walvis Bay. And I was, in fact, before the 1st of December 2013, I was at the coast with official duties. And I've never had communication with any of those alleged that I have been communicated with, my Lord. I was at the coast for official duties. I left, depart Walvis Bay, and I came back by air because I was checked out on this very stamp, as it saying. And then I came back on the second, re-enter Hosea Kutako. I went to Cape Town, my Lord, in fact. I was with Etosha Fishing on the canning project that they had, a footer fish canning project, where they just wanted to show me what is happening in terms of their research, the shelf life of that very can. Because the can shelf life, my Lord, they managed to get it to 3 years. That can last on the shelf for 3 years.
Mr. Esau, I don't want to interrupt you. Let's just stick to the relevant facts. No?
Yeah, I left.
It's only for the court convenience and not to clog up the record.
Thank you, my Lord.
So, on the 28th of November, from the email at least, it appears that James Hatukulipi spoke to you. You see that?
Correct, my Lord.
How would he have been able to talk to you if you were not in Windhoek or you were not near him?
That's why I am, my Lord, saying that it is impossible. It's impossible for him to have spoken to me on this matter of value addition, C value addition for MH.
Okay.
Because, my Lord, maybe to add, is that 2013, November 2013, my devices, the cell phones, can be checked by the investigation. I doubt whether I had even the contact number of James Hatukulipi in 2013, November. I doubt, my Lord. I have
My
big
learned
doubt.
friends are making notes. Hopefully they will check up on that. But
We
let's
have
move
to check, my
along,
Lord.
Mr. Esau. My Lord, if there's no objection, I beg leave to hand up the sequence of emails and a copy of the passport to be marked as Exhibit X. I think the last document was W. X1 through to X4. X5.
Divide the 27 marked Exhibit X, and the documents contained therein are marked X1 to X5.
Now, Mr. Esau, I want us to, as we are moving along, briefly deal with two of the new facts that you have raised. And that would be the new fact number 5, basically 4, 5, and 6. And what you're in essence saying is that your evidence will reveal that you had nothing to do with the offenses and that you were being used by your co-accused, and also that your name and credentials as Minister of Fisheries have been opportunistically and falsely optimized by some of your co-accused. You remember that? Okay. Now, I have a copy of Mr. Joanna Stefansson's affidavit here. And what he is saying, well, firstly, before we go there, the state is alleging, and we went through the summary of substantial facts yesterday, that there was a scheme that 25% of the usage fee for Namgomar would be paid in Namibia. Do you recall that?
Yeah, in the documents there, my lord.
In the summary of substantial facts. And that the 75% of the actual usage fee would then be paid in Dubai.
I recall that.
Are you with me?
Yeah.
Were you part of the discussions relating to that particular scheme?
Not at all, my lord. Not at all. And even I never knew about such a scheme, my lord.
Just hold on for me. And what Mr. Johannes Stephenson is saying is that the amount that was paid in Namibia, in his affidavit, he then refers to 30%, and then he says it was 44,490,000 that was paid in Namibia to Namgomar. Did you benefit any of that money, those monies that were paid into Namgomar's account? 44,490,000.
My lord, not a single cent, not a single cent came to my accounts for my benefit, neither a single cent to any entity which belongs to me, neither in cash or otherwise, or transfers. Nothing at all, my lord.
What Mr. Stephenson is further saying is that the amount paid outside of Namibia, the 70%, is 103,810,000. $103 million paid in Dubai. Did you benefit any of those monies?
My lord, once more, as I have stated yesterday, as I have given evidence yesterday, in my moral or ethical chemistry, my lord, I am not a person of kickbacks or 10%. I'm not that one. I was never that one, my lord. So I've not benefited. And I would never have accepted benefiting from such, my lord.
So what we now know is, according to Mr. Stephenson, at least the figure that we are looking at in relation to Namgomar is 103 plus 44 million. That would give us 148 million. If you take the 800,000 and the 400,000. Of that 148 million, did you derive any benefit therefrom?
My lord, not an iota of a penny or a cent of that very amount, which is alleged.
And remember, keep that in mind, that 148 million. We will come back to it. What Mr. Stephenson is further stating in his affidavit is that in 2014, the work continued. And James Hatukilipi indicated 5 million was needed for payment to higher level politicians. He only mentioned Minister Esau, but did not mention the names of others, but many times indicated that there were some other high level politicians in Namibia to drive the matter through. And then this money was then paid, further alleges. In 2014, did you receive anything of that 5 million that was allegedly paid?
My lord, nothing, my lord. Nothing was received by me or through any entity of mine. Nothing, my Lord. I have not received in 200, nothing. It is not my culture to do that. I was gainfully employed, my Lord. I had a farm which was operating. My money was coming from this. I got money from my salaries, I got money from my farm, I got tax returns from my farm.
Yes, we went through all of that during your initial bail application, the monies that you received, and that has already been established that it was quite lucrative, and it is part of the record, so we don't need to go into detail with regards to that. But what the state is further alleging is that you, Mr. Esau, and remember we were talking about hundreds of millions of dollars here. You received a check of 150,000 that was paid into your personal bank account from your son-in-law, Tamsin, during 2012.
My Lord, as I have given evidence already, my wife and I has offered our son-in-law to buy cattle, as well as for them, at least for them to cultivate an interest in farming. This is what that 150,000 was for, payment on cattle. It was not, and I have never asked even my son-in-law the sources of that 150. We never asked him, because we were introduced to him as a business person. He's a business person, so we told him, fine, farming is lucrative, we can offer you cattle, and also you can also at least cultivate the interest in farming. And the cattle was kept at Dakota Farm, 35 in Umaheke region, at our farm of my wife and I.
Was it paid, this 150,000, was it paid as the indictment alleges into your personal bank account?
It was not paid in my personal bank account, it was paid in the farming account. In the farming account, my Lord, not in my personal account.
Okay. The state is also alleging that that payment was made from Maria Seafood Namibia. It came from them. Do you have any comment on that?
My Lord, I don't know the sources of payment, my Lord, that my son-in-law was receiving, whether from Maria or from whatever fishing company or any others, because to my knowledge, my son-in-law was never having a fishing right, to my knowledge.
Okay. If, as the state is alleging, that millions and hundreds of millions of dollars were paid out, what would you say about the 150,000 that you received?
Come again, my Lord, with the question.
We can move on. Something that we can argue. Now the state is further alleging that you further benefited the value of 1.9 million, that is in respect of a property in Achifarongo. But we will not deal with it now because that relates to the fish core matter. Remember, we are only dealing with the funds now from Nemgumar. How you benefited from the Nemgumar project. So the plot, they are saying, it's through DHC, and that relates to the fish core matter. We will get there eventually. So on the Nemgumar project, we now have 150 million. Then the state is further alleging that you benefited to the value of 3.3 million. These were through payments pertaining to expenses incurred on your farm Dakota. And this were part of renovations that were either affected by yourself or by Mr. Temzen Hatu Kilipi. What we do not know from the indictment is whether it's from the Nemgomar payments or from the Fishcore payments, but either way it's alleging that that is what you benefited. Can you please explain to this court and clarify the aspect of renovations that was made to your farm? And also in that process explain whether where the funds came from, whether it was from any payment derived from the Samerji group of companies.
My Lord, maybe I should start explaining from the background, giving a background overview of the developments on my farm. My Lord, first of all, the farm was acquired through a loan. I have already testified that. Secondly, the developments on my farm came about from the proceeds of the marketing of my cattle, savings, etc., but not from fishing, not from fishing, my Lord. And I want to zero in into that amount, that figure given, the 3.3 million. My Lord, again, my wife and I have given the opportunity to our son-in-law in 2016, 2017 to put up their own dwelling at least on the farm, because as elders we had our own main dwelling, and we don't want to mix with the youth, the youngsters, when they come to my farm. At least they were supposed to have their own place. They can socialize there, they can do their things there, but not here to come with elders and to mix with us when we are sitting with elders to talk about it. And they have developed their very dwellings. That was our daughter married to Tamsan Atikulipi, and our son as well. I was there on site, my Lord, to say this is where you can build, this is where the building should be for you, and this is where our building is. And they have put up their buildings there, which I have identified. They have put up their buildings, they paid for the contractors to put up their buildings, their contractors, and they in fact have, my Lord, paid for that buildings, not for my benefit or for the benefit of my wife. Not a single item in terms of furnitures or whatever equipment to that buildings was paid from my pocket or from the pocket of my wife. It was paid by them themselves. Where they have sourced the money from, they must attest to it. They must give evidence where they got the money from. I, in fact, when those contractors were there, when they had free time, I was asking them, please, can you put up a small thing for me here in the garden? I will pay for it from my side, from my savings. And that is what I did. So the 3.3 or whatever millions was for the benefit of them, not the benefit for my wife and I. Not at all. We don't have even a single piece of cloth or a single piece of a document in that very buildings which they are there. Nothing at all.
During that period in time, let's say from 2010 up until 2018, did you yourself affect any renovations on your farm or make any improvements?
Correct, my lord. I did improvements on my farm. I did improve in 2010, 2011, 2013.
Let's start off with 2010. What did you improve on the farm?
2010, we did infrastructure development on my farm. Fencing, I did 2010. And even prior to 2010, fencing was taking place there. 2010, I even construct a house for the workers, a proper house for the workers, the foremen. 2010, 2011, constructions was taking place there. 2010, 2011, my lord, I even, in fact, 2009, 2010, I bought myself, through Agribank, a Land Cruiser. Through Agribank, financed by Agribank. I bought that very Land Cruiser. I did infrastructure development, as I've said, 2010. I did construction for the workers' quarters. We did that.
And how did you finance this?
All from the proceeds of sales from cattle, all from the proceeds of my income, salary, and otherwise in terms of S&Ts. That was the source of financing those very infrastructure developments.
We have gone through your bank statements already in the initial bail application, but let's just quickly zoom on this. You constantly refer to S&T. What do you mean S&T?
It means subsistence and traveling allowances.
And what was the normal subsistence and travel allowance that you used to receive as a minister?
My lord, you have different categories or classes. You either go for the first or the second or the third. Now, the first, my lord, is where you get your money, cash, or check paid into your bank account. And it's normally paid into my personal account, where my salary was paid in. And from that money, I transfer it to my, some of the money, of that S&T money, I transfer it into my credit card. And when I travel, I used to stay not in 5-star hotels or 4-star hotels. I stay at bed and breakfast. Or if I go to Swakop, I stay in my small dwelling there at my parents' residence. I have a small, my lord, I have put up, when I was a deputy minister, I have built a small bedroom, just a one room where I could put my bed. Smaller than the cell which I am now in today.
Okay, Mr. Esau, figure-wise, how much would you normally receive per trip if you traveled abroad?
It varies, my lord. It depends whether you go to Europe, whether you travel in Africa, or whether you travel inside the country here.
Give us some examples, sir, please.
It's very difficult for me to give you an example, but Angola is one of the countries where you get a very high S&T rate per day, very high in US dollar terms. It is high. If you go to America, it's over 500 US per day for a minister, if not 1.5 here supposed to be for the minister inside the country as well when I go out. My lord, traveling was very lucrative for us as ministers. That's where we made money, my Lord. And we saved money from there. If you are staying, if you are not a person of style, my Lord, you can save money. My Lord, you know, I assume, my Lord, that is public knowledge. That's why it has become an issue of public interest, my Lord. Everybody, the interested, the ministers are getting a lot of money. You are corrupt because you are getting a lot of money from SNTs.
And ministers do travel a lot. Did you travel a lot?
My Lord, I had a formula of traveling. I have to be open here, my Lord, and everybody should know. I was traveling a lot. I traveled a lot. I had a budget of 1.5 million per annum. And if it was less, if I have overspent, the Marine Resources Fund was paying for it. Let's be honest, comrade. I mean, my Lord. Let's be fair and open here. I cannot hide. I don't want to hide anything. I got money from there, my Lord.
Okay.
And I was not wearing Gucci and those things. So I was not that. It's not my style. Mm.
Okay. Are you done?
Yes, my Lord.
Okay. And part of that money you said you used then to do renovations on your farm.
Correct, my Lord.
And also to pay part in cash.
Yes.
Okay. Now,
When
you testified the first day, Mr. Esau, oh, sorry, you wanted to say something?
No, I said that whenever I'm coming via South Africa, my Lord, and I have some cash left, I change there at the Bureau de Exchange at the airport.
You also mentioned something about, and that was the first day of your testimony, you mentioned something about you received pension payouts and you also used that to make renovations. That was on the first day that you testified.
Correct, my Lord.
Can you please just clarify and briefly elaborate on that?
My Lord, as I have stated, in terms of the affidavit of Master David Nyoma, he has specified how much I have received since 2010. And from that money, I was saying that I have I've received that for housing loan as well. And I put it in my bond account with Standard Bank. That has reduced my exposure in terms of bond liability. And I had a ceiling of 1.4 million. So when I put in the 900,000 in that, it was paid in from GFPF into that one. I had the opportunity to withdraw money from my bond account and put it into my farming account, for argument's sake. And from the farming account, that was where I spent my monies. So I had at least my exposure 1.4, it was less than 1.4, in fact, that I was owing the bank, because I was paying on a monthly basis my housing from the allowance, from my housing allowances. I was servicing my bond account. So I had at least my bond account was low. So the 900 came in, I took the 900, I invested into my farm, infrastructure-wise. I took some of the money, I invested it in renovating my house. So that money has also opened up, and I had also a facility with the bank of overdraft facility on my farming account to a tune of 200,000 as well. So I was really liquid. I was liquid, my Lord. And I had that money, and I pumped that money into my farming operation. And nothing came from this fishing, alleged monies that they say it came to me. Nothing came to me. That's why I'm saying, if our honorable court considers my bail, I will really employ an auditing company to prepare a proper audit report in preparation for my trial to present it. My Lord, I don't know whether I have responded to the...
No, you have. at least from the question that I've asked you. So what you're in essence saying is that you used your, just to sum up, for the renovations on your farm, either proceeds from the sale of cattle, from your farming activities. You also used some of the funds from your S&T, which was quite lucrative, and you traveled a lot.
Very lucrative, my lord.
Yeah. And then some of it from the pension.
Correct, my lord.
Monies that you-
Very, very
that
strong
you-
pension even up to
Okay.
now.
Thank you. So that then takes care of the 3 million. And you also said the 3 million as alleged that you benefited from on your farm, Dakota, that was in essence for the benefit of your son-in-law and his
Correct.
wife.
That's for them, not for my benefit,
Not for
my
you.
lord. It was not, we have given them as, my lord, I think culturally, as even we come, relatives in villages, your parents will give you, at least say, look out, you can put your small house there. And that is, in fact, on that basis that I have asked, we have given permission to our kids to say, look out, we have a farm, we don't have a village, but we can build your things here. And when you come here, this is where you come for December. Like now, everybody has migrated to the north now. And they stay in those very villages, my lord.
What they further allege is that it was noticed from affidavits from suppliers. This is in the indictment now, what the state is alleging. It was noticed from affidavits from suppliers, service providers, to Mr. Esau that Mr. Esau often made cash payments to suppliers, service providers. Payments in respect of Mr. Esau's farm, Dakota, totaling 79,273 that were made in cash and for which invoices were provided. Do you have any response to that?
My lord, can I just ask clarity on this very question? From which supplier?
If I'm not mistaken, and having read some of the statements, it's for fencing. The indictment is not clear on that.
My lord, when I perused, in fact, through the disclosures of the state, I've realized that some of the suppliers, my lord, are providing quotations and take a quotation as proof of payment. Proof of payment. They have, what I have seen, my lord, in the disclosures as well, is that a statement, handwritten statement, is provided. So much was paid, not paid, but just said, fencing, 20,000. Renovations, 5,000. But it does not give me the proof of payment. There is no receipt attached to say that this one was paid on this receipt. So, my lord, it is very difficult for me to say that I have made payments on quotations. What I can state, my lord, is yes, I did pay people who came to do provide services on the farm. And those people who were paid for those services that they have provided, my lord, wanted to be paid in cash because it's people who had to pay their workers in cash because some of the workers don't have bank accounts, they don't have, so you have to pay them in cash. So hence, for me to respond to the question of 75,000 paid in terms of fencing, maybe I have paid 75,000, my lord. It is not impossible for a minister to pay 75,000 or 60,000. It is not impossible. to pay that. And
And
the
if
pay-
you paid,
if
sorry
I've
for
paid,
interrupting
yeah,
you. And
if
if you
I-
paid,
yeah.
where would you then have derived this cash from?
From savings, as I've stated, whenever I was traveling, my lord, I change my US dollar to Namibian dollar or South African rands at the Bureau of Exchange. And I keep that money. I keep float with me, my lord. I kept float with me, and that money I used to pay for fencing. Sometimes you have a man and his or her and his wife. They do fencing, I've realized that. I saw that as well. So they want cash, my lord. They came with a donkey cart in those areas of us. So they stay in the field there. They put up their small tent. We provide them with water. Then when they finish with the piece work, what they do, we pay them cash. You don't go and say, what is your bank account? Can I transfer money into that bank account? You cannot, my lord.
Understood.
I'm just trying to simplify the thing for people to understand the nature of farming in Namibia as well.
It makes perfect sense to me, Mr. Esau. We can proceed. On when they went to go search your farm, the ACC or the police, did they find any cash?
My lord, there was cash.
There was cash.
I have to tell you, there was cash. I cannot deny that, my lord. There was cash that came from a small shop that we had on the farm. I think that belongs to that was managed by my wife, and the workers there, they used to sell some groceries or things like that. There was also cash, my lord, which belongs to my son, not my son-in-law, but my son, biological son. He had cash because I have given them an opportunity. I've given him the opportunity to start with chicken farming as well. And he wanted to put up infrastructures. So he brought the cash to my wife, and we had the cash there. And he was supposed now to start buying from Hobabes material, because Hobabes is closer to our farm. So it's 100 kilometers instead of 180, 190 kilometers from Windhoek here. So they were supposed now, during the festive season of 2019, before my arrest, because normally we congregate during the family days on the farm as family. So that was that cash, and that can be proven as well. That
So how
we
many
had-
millions were that? How many millions?
My lord, it was 70,000 metric, not metric tons, NAM dollars. I think it was 70, around about 70. I
Around
can't
about
give the
70,000.
exact
Okay.
figure now, my lord, but it was 70. It was around about that amount of money, because 60 was his, I know, and the balance was was for the shop.
And did you ever receive any cash amounts from any of your co-accused throughout the course of the years from 2012 to 2018? Cash amounts?
Not an iota of a cent, my lord. That I confirm, that not an iota of a cent.
Now what we have is, the state is alleging that you benefited a minimum of 5.4 million from this alleged corrupt scheme. What we also do know is, let me just quickly finish, is that the amount that was allegedly defrauded or stolen from Fishcore through that scheme was about 81 million. So you have about 81 million, and then you have about 148 million. So 148 plus 81, it's a lot, 200 and something million. Let me not be a mathematician here or accountant. And they are saying you, as the big man, got 5 million. What is your comment?
Not received a iota of a cent, my lord, on this 5, which alleged 5 million, which they say is the 3.3 and the 1.9 for the plot. I will come to that one as well, my lord. I have not received a iota of a cent, my lord, not a penny from that one.
What the state is also alleging is that, as the minister, entering into this corrupt scheme was not only for your benefit, but also for the benefit of others, and those others being your son-in-law and your co-accused. What is your response to that?
I've never facilitated, my lord, for any agreements, whether partnership agreements with for anyone other than anyone co-accused with any other entity like the Chinese, the Icelandics, my lord. Not at all. I have not facilitated for that. Neither did I facilitate for Fishco secondary agreements.
Mr. Esau, and I will ask you directly. I said that we will deal with your new facts wherein you say your name and credentials were used as the Minister of Fisheries by some of your co-accused. Why do you say so?
My lord, since I have given evidence, even yesterday, on the fact of this opportunity, Angola, that very opportunity, Angola, which I have given, my lord, was fake, because I was not even on the 29th in Angola, as proven yesterday. So that's why I'm saying people have been using my name as a minister. There are some affidavits as well, where in fact, which was disclosed in the discovery, that can attest that my name was used, which we will for sure come to when it gets to that. I have gone through, I tried to go through this very disclosure in this environment that is not conducive. Prison. I can do my investigations when I am outside proper. Even with my colleagues, former colleagues, in the ministry, if I am allowed, because I don't want to tamper with witnesses of the state. Maybe through subpoenaing, through the court subpoenas, maybe I can obtain some information with the concurrence of the state as well, in the court. But my name was used. It is so clear. It is so clear coming out. Even with accused who are not yet reprimanded, I have seen that, in my lord, in the affidavits, and I was shocked out of my boots when I saw that.
Who are these accused that were not yet reprimanded? Can you please
Maren de
elaborate?
Klerk?
Maren de Klerk.
Clear.
My lord, I see it's 11 o'clock. Will this be an opportune time for a brief adjournment, my lord, before I move on to our next topic?
What? You said what is the time? I don't have a watch with me.
11. my lord.
11.
Yes.
All right, we'll adjourn for tea. You'll have me called.
Thank you. the record for the court's convenience. May I please hand up a copy? I've also prepared a file 2, a bundle 2 file, my lord, that relates to the fish core matter.
Okay.
And apologies, my lord, I didn't name them, but there is the record. The other judge I did, the other bundle I did mark, my lord, and your name indicates there,
No, it's
appears
fine.
there, and
It's fine.
that's bundle 2, my lord.
Okay.
As it pleases the court.
Thank you.
Some weekend entertainment, Mr. Metcalf is saying, some reading work for the weekend. Yes, Mr. Esau, prior to the break, we were dealing with your evidence that will reveal that you had at least, my apologies, I think maybe my brain is fried and it's the weekend fever. We were dealing with your new facts, in particular new fact 5 and 6, 4, 5 and 6, that you were being used by your co-accused and that your credentials and your name as a minister has been falsely optimized and used by some of your co-accused. You recall that?
I recall, my lord.
Is there still anything that you want to add on that? Because you were quite brief.
My lord, based on the evidence, based on my testimony and the evidence that was provided to the Honorable Court in terms of correspondences, it is so clear, my lord, that my name was used. From the time of going to Angola for a fact-finding mission, for a working visit, my lord, it is so clear that the amount, the quantum of money that came out from the allocation of quotas to Namgoma, as it was now established through the disclosure of documentation by the investigation, it amounts to 148 million Namibian dollars. It is huge. It is a lot of money. I never had that, in fact, figure in my mind. Maybe I'm not financially proper literate on this. The amount, my lord, which came out from Fishco of 81 million, also from the disclosures that was in fact disclosed in 2021 through an order of Justice Liebenberg in April 2021 to be disclosed to us. That amount, which accumulates to over 200 million Namibian dollars, close to 230 million Namibian dollars, it's mind-boggling for me. And here, my lord, from again the disclosures of the investigations as ordered, I stand really, I am here, I was used. I have to say it that way. Payments made on the request, I don't know, from my co-accused to those Johannes or to his companies of 5 million for the big boss or for the small boss.
Big men.
Big men, my lord. I've not received any iota of a cent out of this. Nothing, my lord. People are saying they have spoken to the big men, where else I was at the coast for something else, on official duty, to say the big man needs money for Christmas, maybe, because it was really that festive season as we are approaching. It is unheard of, my Lord. It is unheard of for me that I have delegated or asked somebody to ask money from these very people. I have never, ever done that in terms of communicating for that. Because Namgoma itself, I am not a shareholder. Why must I ask money from Namgoma? I am not a director of Namgoma. Why must I ask money from Namgoma? I am not an employee or a staff member of Namgoma. Why must I ask money from Namgoma? Same applies to Fishco. With the disclosure, my Lord, in terms of the investigations conducted, it has come out very clearly in the disclosure, my Lord, through affidavits by the investigation, that money was already flowing from Fishco and Samari to DHC, Maren. It came out from that disclosure as a new fact for me, my Lord. As I've said, I never knew Maren then. 2016, I never knew that money governmental paid through or quotas paid was going to Maren's account. I never knew that, my Lord, because I never knew even a name of DHC. It seems very clearly, my Lord, and I will testify to that I was hoodwinked, deceived, blindfolded in signing some of those very docs. I was totally, and I can attest to that in terms of the affidavits, the money that flows to them, up to the time, a lot of money, 14 million, blah, blah, I don't know what monies were flowing, my Lord. It is the disclosure has opened up my eyes, and it is a confirmation that I was misused, or used, in fact, not for my benefit, but for the benefit of others. 220, if you add Fishco and Namgoma together, it boils down, my Lord, to I've just added it now, 229, 81, that disclosure from the investigating officers, Namgoma, 148, that is now the 103, which was paid outside, and the 44 inside payment. I don't even know that one. And it boils down to 229. My Lord, as a minister of controlling the resources of Namibia, when I put pen to paper, in fact, when I sign off the internal memos for the allocation of quotas, as recommended to the minister by the PS and the officials of the ministry, I have started to know, my Lord, that, this very quotas is worth billions of Namibian dollars. I never knew in terms of usage agreements, because I was not trying to put my attention to that. My attention was employment, poverty eradication, and see to it that there is investments in the sector. But when with this very case came about, and today with the disclosure as a new fact, my Lord, as I've stated, I am shocked. I have not even received 10% of this 229 in my account. Not even 30%, 100 million even, or 50% of this very amount. I feel betrayed in this very matter. I cannot, honestly speaking, take responsibility or shoulder the blames of this very, what happened there in this very Fishko and Namgoma matters. I am not party to.
Did you receive any money of that amount?
Zero, my lord. I have not received a penny, an iota of a cent, my lord. I can, and here I am labeled as fish rot. Here I am labeled as disgraced minister. And that, my lord, in the interest of the administration of justice, really I need to be released from this very issue. I cannot take blame for others who have incriminated me or implicate me, my lord, in this very, 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 very case that I'm faced with today. I'm staying in Hoogland Park, not in Ludwigsdorf. I'm staying in Hoogland Park, not in this new suburbs. What is the suburb which they are now building there?
Ausblik.
Ausblik and things like that. I don't have anything. In Swakop, I stay in Mondesa, Independence Avenue, 183, my mother's residence. Not even built, a matchbox house, for that matter. My farm was acquired before even these cases came out. It was improved already before these very cases came out, my lord. It's so sad, it is sad, and it's heartbreaking for me and my family. And even for the public who knows me, they know me. I was handling funds in this country. Prior to being even a unionist, I went to lobby for money. Not a cent was taken from those monies. Now here I am. I don't know, my lord. I plead for my release based on the new facts that came out from this implications on me, incriminations on me. By association, I don't do business with kids, my lord. I have elders with whom I have associations. I have elders. My peer group, and I want to highlight that very one. I have a peer group of the 60s as well. Not from the 70s, not from the 80s, or from the 90s. They are not my peer groups, my lord. I have not talked about business with them. Acquiring farms, I have not talked about them. Yes, some of my co-accused are professionals, and they are youth, they are young people, and we need to bring them into the order of our communities. And it's on that basis that I was facilitating, which I will attest or give evidence to that when we come to Fishko and the appointments of board.
But just to be also clear and frank to the court, what we've referred to, and I don't want this issue to be diluted, that was in the affidavit of Mr. Johannes Stephenson that about 103 million was paid to Dubai. But the state is alleging in the indictment, it's not 103 million that was paid to Dubai. It's actually a lesser amount. It's about 4 million USD, American dollars, that was paid over. So it's not 103 as alluded to by Mr. Stephenson. So the amount is less than 229. Okay.
But, my lord, can I respond to that one as well? Just for the interest of the administration of justice as well, and the interest of the public. When it comes to payments by right-holding companies, whether ordinary rights or anything, ministers are not involved in that very process of payments between the right holders and those who are providing services to the right holders. And I've never been involved in that. In terms of the quantum of payments, I don't even knew, I was not aware of there's an account of money or money paid by the service provider in terms of those Icelandics to Dubai. Neither was I aware that some 75% or 25% came inside to Namibia. I was not aware of any arrangements pertaining to that. I just want to underline that one, my Lord. And I was in transit in Dubai always when I come from Norway, but I never even knew about such things. But I was in transit at the airport of Dubai. I never knew. I never put foot outside the airport building even. I never had even a card or things, nothing, my Lord. Here I am.
Now, in terms of the co-accused, just to briefly touch in terms of your relationship with them, how you know them and how you came to know them. I will take you through a list of names, and then you can just elaborate how you came to know them and what your relationship are with them. Firstly, Ricardo Gustavo, he's accused number 1. What is your relationship with him?
As I've stated, my Lord, I never knew Ricardo Gustavo, personally or otherwise. I have not met Gustavo, Ricardo, since my appointment as minister in 2010, or even prior to my appointment as Minister of Fisheries and Marine Resources. I happened to be briefly introduced by our former permanent secretary. I had my briefcase as I was exiting the office for another engagement. He came, and a tall man came, as I attest yesterday, and I was told this is the man, but I can't recall especially was it the 7th of July or so, but he was from the office of the PS coming, and I was told this is the man from the Angolan Namibia agreement. Yes, and that is it. And from there, I never saw Ricardo.
In the ruling
maybe in the streets of Windhoek he saw me, but everybody greets the minister. Today when I was working there, even the street kids were greeting me, Comrade Minister, coming to court. Yes, my Lord.
Now, the magistrate in your initial bail comment made a comment about it would appear that you and Mr. Ricardo Gustavo, you stay in the same street, Papagaayenweg, in Hoogland Park. Do you know him? Do you know where his house is in Papagaayenweg?
My Lord, no. I don't know where he is in Papagaayenweg. Papagaayenweg is a very long street, my Lord. It starts from that side of Emma Hoogland School to bordering that side of Sam Nujoma Drive at Urban School. So it is a very long street. Number 1 is that side of the one figure numbers of the houses, the plots are that side. I am 91 at the end of Urban School there at that side at Urban, and I never knew him and where he was staying. So there was maybe not a clarity, my Lord, on my physical address and the physical address of Ricardo. it may not
Will be necessary to be specific on the addresses. You are following?
correct, my lord.
Yes.
Okay. And Mr. James, well, before we start with James, let us first start with Temzen Haitukilipi, your relationship with him. How is that?
Yeah, my lord, prior to 2011, there was no relationship between me and Tamsen Hatuikulipi. There was nothing. He was not my son-in-law. I never knew that he was a boyfriend or boyfriend to my daughter. I never knew him. Even Tamsen name or Fiti, I never knew such a person. So the relationship between me and Fiti or Tamsen Hatuikulipi started when he got married to my daughter, to our daughter of my wife and I. So in terms of any other relationships, when in fact, my lord, he got married, we were monitoring him, whether he is really not abusing our daughter. We're monitoring him, my lord, with eagle eyes, with hawk eyes, whether he's not, there's no GPF, gender-based violence with our daughter, because we will recall our daughter if that has happened. And when they finish their first year of in wedlock, my lord, I'm very strict. I am a strict parent to my children. I, in fact, told my daughter, in fact, not Fiti, I told my daughter, we will give you a place on, first of all, we'll allow you to buy cattle. You must come into the cattle in primary sector of the economy in terms of cattle farming. Because we are all born in cities, in towns. And I allow my daughter and her husband, Fiti, Tamsen, to get cattle from our farm, from our head, not from any other head, but from our own head, our parental head. That's where he paid that 150. And the relationship, that was the relationship. And we also allow them, by the way, my lord, to say, look out, since my son, who finished his studies in China, you can now also start to do harvesting of grass on the farm. You can harvest grass on our farm because it is we had a lot of grass on our farm, and that time, and that's why they have acquired those implements, my lord, tractor, and those harvesting equipment, which is still on the farm.
Okay.
So relationship, as I've said, there was no mutual financial beneficial relationship between me and him where he was giving me money. No, I didn't want his. I had my money, my lord. I was well off. In fact, my lord, already. I was well off. I had a farm, I had cattle. It was not a holiday farm, it was a farm that makes business. I was well paid, my lord, as a minister. I was well paid. I can't deny that.
Now, his cousin then, Mr. James Hatuikulipi, how did you come to know of him and what is your relationship with him? Because one of the allegations is also that you've appointed him as the chairman of the Fish Corps board.
My lord, first of all, as I've stated, and I'm repeating it again, James is not my peer group. There's 20 years plus difference between me and James. James was known arm's length from me, by me. Arm's length. I never had tea or coffee with James when he was here in the private sector. Not at all. There's no time that I met James to discuss with James. Even during even during the year 2011, not at all. I have not spoken with James on any matter. So James, I know when I had the surname Hatwikulipi. My Lord, let me be open with the court here on James. When they came to ask for the wedding of our daughter, I also did my intelligence. I met the former president of our republic, His Excellency Hifikepunye Pohamba, because they are from the same region, Ohangwena region. And the president told me that this family, Hatwikulipi, is a very well-off family. That's what I was told. And they are, in fact, a good family. They have the other side religious, they are good, blah. And I was saying, so, okay, I take note. Because during that wedding of my daughter, the president even contributed to me, to our family, finances. James, I never knew him as a friend. I never knew him in any way. But when that was cleared, it put me into ease, it put us into ease, my family, to say, let's accept for them to marry our. So James, per se, was not known to me prior to the wedding of our daughter with the Hatwikulipi family. James was not, in fact, a factor to me, not at all. Politically or otherwise, he was not. And he cannot be as well.
We will deal with his appointment and the method of his appointment once we deal with the Fishkor matter. Okay. And then there's a Pius Matululu. Pius. He's also one of the co-accused that is alleged to have been part of the scheme in this conspiracy and criminal syndicate with you. Do you know him?
My Lord, I never knew Pius, the person in the name of Pius. Maybe I saw him at some occasions, but I never knew he's Pius Mwatelulu. Mwatelulu, ne? Yeah. And I never knew that, my Lord. I happened to learn and to know Pius now when we were incarcerated at CAs and at Windhoek Correctional Services. I happened to be told that this man is a cousin to James. I, in fact, also saw him once on my farm, Dakota, with James coming to the farm during the festive seasons in 2017, 16, 17, round about there, if my memory serves me well. I never knew, and Pius is even the age group of my son, Philip. I never have met him. And the other issue where I met Pius was at Omthia, at the Fish Consumption Promotion Day. He came and I could not even recognize him there. And when I was, in fact, preparing the dishes, fish dishes there. So Pius, in fact, I can testify that, in fact, I don't know Pius.
But you have met him on a few occasions.
Yeah, I met him, but
Like
in the byway, as I've said, in my official capacity, when I was, my Lord, when I was with Fish Consumption Promotion Trust Day, on the farm, I saw him with his relatives there, because they had a house which I allowed them to pay. Fiti to pay, Hatwikulipi, Thompson, to build their house. So they were there.
And then Mr. Saki Shangala.
Yes. My Lord, Saki, 1991, my Lord. I'm just trying to wind back my memory, I met him at the 50th birthday anniversary of our president when he was Prime Minister. I came as a unionist, my Lord, with a delegation of officials from the unions who were invited for that birthday party at the Prime Minister's office because the party was held there. He was one of the protocol officers there who guided us where we should go and sit and where we should be served from. That is, but we have not put any attention with it. I never knew the name of Shangala, but we were asking this young guy, this young man, why is he so, he's trying to play protocol here. We don't know him in the struggle equation. We don't know him. And we were also angry on this, to be told to be guided by young person. Now, my Lord, I met Saki again. I can't recall, but he was one of the persons whom I was referred to write a letter by the PS for legislative reviews on our Marine Resources Act, I think in 2012, if I'm not mistaken, but I think that roundabout there, where a letter was prepared for my signature to ask inputs from the Law Reform and Development Commission. And he was, in fact, the chairperson whose name came about.
So sorry, Mr. Esau, when you just paused there, I just want clarity on this aspect. You said he was the permanent secretary.
The PS, our PS from Fisheries and Marine Resources.
Is it the same PS that we referred to that invited him on the delegation? Okay.
That's
so that PS, then just explain that. The PS said that you must write a letter. Or
the PS said that we must consult with the Law Reform and Development Commission as well, for them to have an input into the possible amendments of our legislation, Marine Resources Act, because there was a review that was taking place already on the Marine Resources Act. And based on that, the PS prepared a letter for my signature to the Law Reform, the chairperson of the Law Reform chairperson of the Law Reform, who was Saki that time. And I signed that letter as it was prepared and brought to my office for his inputs into the law reform of the Marine Resources Act. And he came out with a document, very fast, very quick, with a document, frequently asked questions on the Marine Resources Act and legislations and policies. And we have that document. I think we have submitted it in the court aqua, but there was no reference, in fact, pertaining to specific provisions or sections of the law for amendment. It was frequently asked questions document.
When was that?
That was 2012.
2012.
Correct. And then...
But this entire, sorry, before you proceed, so this entire correspondence, or let me say engagement of Mr. Shangala was at the behest of the permanent secretary?
It was at the behest of the administration of the ministry. It was on behest of the PS and the administration.
You can continue.
Yes, my Lord. Further with Saki, I saw his name on the list of delegates delegates to Angola on a fact-finding mission.
And there was also the list that was prepared by the PS.
That was the letter,
designation.
a letter containing the list of names that was to accompany me as minister for a fact-finding mission to Angola. And that's also, but I'm not saying that he was at the wedding of our daughter. He was there in 2011. He was, my Lord, also there at the funeral of my late brother, January 2014. He was there. But they just come and go. People whom you meet there. I know he was also, when he was appointed as Attorney General in 2015, that very occasion, as we were taking oath of office, because he was appointed after our appointment, and as an AG, he was now the legal advisor to government. 2015, and that's to my recollection, Your Lordship, because there might have been maybe some other occasions where we were maybe at a reception, government reception in terms of foreign mission, embassies, and where we come and see at cabinet as well. We were also, when we resume cabinet, then we come and greet each other, my Lord.
Mm-hmm. Yes, Mr. Esau, besides just not the specific instances that you have met, did you then at any point in time develop a relationship with him, whether a personal relationship or advisory relationship?
On government level, my Lord, on government level, yes, because we have to approach you as a legal advisor. You also start developing some kind of a relationship in that context of saying it is our AG, it is our Minister of Justice, anything relating to the law, this is the man. This is the man you have to talk at a political level. He was also a member, by the way. He became a member of the Central Committee of SWAPO, I think in 2017, if I'm not mistaken. And as comrades, you have to interact. You talk. You talk about the party. You talk about possible policies and things like that. So Namibia is small, my Lord. It's very small. I've been linking up with a lot of people from the south to the north, from the west to the east. So I cannot deny the fact that I was not in touch with Saki as a AG, Saki as a Minister of Justice, Saki as a member of Parliament, Saki as a member of the Central Committee of SWAPO. I cannot deny that, my Lord. It is so clear. Cabinet of 22, 23, Politburo of 72. Is a peer group of my son-in-law, but not talking about my private businesses with them, with the exception, one exception, where I approached him. I approached him to see or know whether he knows of any competent and a proper commercial lawyer. And that was in 2017. It was in 2017 where I asked him, Comrade Minister, do you know of any lawyer who can do my will? Because I want a commercial lawyer who can do a family trust. That is how I was asking, and he told me he is party to the late Aaron Mushimba's arrangements, and there's a proper lawyer, commercial lawyer, young commercial lawyer, he said, of middle age, who can help me to put up my will, my testimony, not my testament, my will, and also a trust, a family trust for me, because that time, 2017, I was approaching 60 years of age, and I was saying, now is the time for me to get my life organized, because you never know when is the time that they call me. And that was my preparations, my Lord. And that's how I, in fact, interact with Saki. Other than that, zero.
Okay, thank you. I think we are done with that. We can move on to a next point, or at least to another new fact. Do you have your new fact list there with you?
I don't know which file, but you can just
Have a look if it's not on the front of your bundle one.
Bundle one.
To be directed where he can get the document.
I think I might have an additional copy here. Just read it to you. It's not a long new fact, and you can just comment on it.
I have it now, my Lord.
You have it
I
now?
managed to
Okay.
locate.
Your first new fact that was placed on record at the commencement of these proceedings were that the investigations into the matter are now complete. Thus, there exists no threat of interference and additional evidence to enhance the evidence currently at hand against you. Do you have any comment on that?
My Lord, in terms of the investigations, as in fact ordered, as in fact informed to me as an accused, that it has now been completed. There is no threat of interference to enhance the evidence currently at hand. I can confirm, my Lord, that really there is no threat of interfering, and never ever have I ever interfered or attempt to interfere into the investigations. As Bernhardt Esau, I never ever have done that, because I am a law-abiding citizen. And when I, in fact, was accused that I am corrupt, I am a fraudster, my Lord, I stepped aside for a credible investigations to be carried out. And that from my position as Minister of Fisheries, it is just maybe now that I don't have that very letter, which could have served as evidence to the court, which I have addressed to the appointing authority, His Excellency Hage G.K. Ngop, President of the Republic of Namibia. I have put it in no uncertain terms after our discussions. And he, in fact, called me as well and say, Esau, I appreciate what you did. You made my day. So, my Lord, there's no threat from me of interfering in any additional evidence currently at hand against against me, or even in the future, any evidence that comes out, I will not interfere.
And if you are granted bail, will you interfere with the witnesses or tamper with the witnesses?
My Lord, in terms of the disclosures, there is over 342 witnesses identified. We can still add, in fact, witnesses to the list. We can add it, my Lord. I will never, ever tamper with the witnesses. Not at all, my Lord. If I am granted bail, the conditions even set by the Honorable Court, Your Lordship, I will never, I am not that person of interfering. I don't micromanage even entities that was linked to the Ministry of Fisheries. Not at all, my Lord. I am not that type of person.
Okay. We can go on to number 2. Your second new fact.
I've been sitting here, but I believe my little friend is. My little friend has read the judgment of the Supreme Court. Says when you're bringing bail on new facts, you don't need to lead evidence on facts on which bail was not refused on. Now it's leading bail on interference. Bail was not denied on interference in this case, and I don't know what is he planning to do with that evidence, my Lord.
Noted.
My Lord, I then maybe perhaps have a different view in the interpretation of that particular judgment. We are not saying that it was not, the court did not, in the court of quote, did not make a judgment in relation to interference. The ruling there pertained to public interest and administration of justice. And what the court have set out, the full bench of this court, in the matter of, I believe it's Mr. Igipunya, Mr. Mike, accused number 6 in this matter, or 7 in this matter. In that judgment, the court set out, these are the following factors that you must consider when it relates to the interest of justice. So it's not just interest of justice in vacuum. Interest of justice entails whether you will interfere. Interest of justice entails whether you will abscond. Interest of justice entails a lot of things, my Lord, and we have to cover that. There are various factors. In fact, in that particular judgment, the court actually said, at the commencement of any bail application, the state will now, from now on, have a duty to place which facts of interest of justice they are imposing on. So we have to deal with the all-encompassing factors under the interest of justice, my Lord. I do understand my learned friend's sentiment to say, or his submission to say that you don't need to deal with it, but unfortunately, from our interpretation, from also the full bench, these are the factors that form part of the interest of justice. And we are already done with the particular matter. The objection is so late that we've already dealt with it. We are now moving on to the second one, as it pleases the court. Oh, I thought my learned friend still wanted to reply, but...
No, it's fine.
Okay.
Then in that case, you may move on. We
Yes.
can deal with the issue.
As it pleases the court. Number 2. The fish rod case, as they call it, That was only initially known as the Nemgomar case. Then we have the Fishkor case. They were different cases. They have now been joined together. The disclosure constitutes about 95 arch-level files, 144-page indictment, 44-page pre-trial memorandum, 7-page summary of substantial facts, and a witness list of 342 witnesses the state intends to call, which establishes a protracted trial and infringes on your right to a fair and speedy trial. Please elaborate on that new fact that you want the court to consider.
My Lord, this very new fact, fact number 2, came about because of the order of Justice Liebenberg in April 2021. After my failed bail application, that was in June 2020. And this is a new fact. And based on this very new fact, my Lord, my right to a fair trial and a speedy trial is totally infringed. In the interest of the administration of justice, my Lord, this voluminous documents in terms of 95 liver arch files, my Lord. To go through those very files, it needs an area that is conducive to prepare myself in presenting my defense against, my Lord, against all these allegations, accusations, incriminations, and implications. I need a conducive environment to prepare. My Lord, this 95 liver arch files translate into 80,000 to 90,000 pages disclosed by the state. And I believe, as I've testified yesterday, day before yesterday, this very exercise needs expert inputs as well, my Lord. It needs accountants, it needs senior counsels, it needs, for sure, lawyers to help me in my preparations to make proper presentations. Because for sure I will have presentations which I will also present with flow charts to clear the understanding of the operations and the administrations of the ministry which I was in. My Lord, 144-page indictments. These indictments translate to 22 counts that I am charged on out of 42. And I have to go through each and every count and explain to the court in defense of myself. Because, my Lord, in the interest of the public should understand. They should understand me, and they should understand my side, my role in this. The same applies to the 44-page pre-trial memorandum, my Lord. I must understand, when I was arrested, my Lord, I never understood why am I arrested? Why? What have I done? So Have you received money from the 200 million or whatever? But I need a proper understanding, my Lord, on this one. The same applies to the 7-page summary of substantial facts. And the witnesses, I need to place them in terms of the organogram of the ministry, especially the officials. What were their roles as well in terms of that? I need to get their job descriptions. I have testified here based on what was disclosed. But when they disclose this matter, you need to reconcile this disclosure with their job descriptions in the ministry. And for me to do that, I need to have a conducive environment where I can at least also have a fair and a speedy trial, and also see how I can really fast track this protracted trial and infringes on my rights.
Mr. Esau, let's break it down. 95 arch labor files. Approximately how long will it take to read those files and to prepare?
My Lord, to read through one file only with close to 1,000 pages, let's say 800, file thick as this, not 1,000, but it's quite a voluminous file. You need to read with a comprehension. You must understand. You cannot just read it from the face, but you should understand the in-between of what was said. It needs, my Lord, the lawyers, it needs funds, it needs money to pay for a lawyer, for an accountant, to analyze the financial statements. It needs a lot of effort, my Lord, to be placed.
Mr. Esau, just listen. I do not want to interrupt you, but it's just for the court's convenience. Approximately how long will it take?
It will take me donkeys of years, if not. It will take me a lot of time, my Lord. It will take donkeys of years, my Lord.
Okay.
It can take you 10 years even.
No, to read the files.
Or to read the file, my Lord.
Yes.
Yes, a file, to read this file from a layman's perspective, my Lord. To read this file, it will take more than a day for me to read and to understand.
Okay.
It's not a question of just reading, like reading a novel.
Okay.
It is reading and to comprehend. As a layman, my Lord, you need to read slowly to understand. I cannot read and just comprehend this,
So we say it's a day.
because it's legal jargon, some of them. It's legalistic.
Mr. Esau, so you said it's a day a file. It will take about a day.
Yeah, maybe 2 days, because
Maybe
you have
2
to read
days.
it to comprehend. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. And if you have 95 files, let's say it's a day a file, it will take about 95 days. I mean, the accounting speaks for itself.
Yeah, I said 2 days times 2 for me to read it, my Lord. It's 190 days. Let's say 200 days, nearly close to. If you look at working days in a year, my Lord, you have 250 working days out of 365. That's from the thumb, my Lord.
So 95 days times 2. This gives
Gives
you
you
about
close to a year.
190. No, 190
Yeah,
days.
190.
Yes. So we can safely say that it will take time to read through 95 files.
Correct, my Lord.
Your lawyers also have to read through these files.
Correct, my Lord.
Your lawyers also have to consult with you on these files.
Correct, my Lord.
If you remain in custody, will you have the necessary funds to pay for your lawyers to take about 95 to 190 days to read through the files?
I won't have the money, I won't have the funds, my Lord, if I remain in custody, because I don't have the opportunity whilst in custody to mobilize or to solicit funding for my lawyers, my Lord. It is very difficult. It is difficult.
You were given also a pre-trial memorandum Now, in terms of this pre-trial memorandum, which is about 44 pages, your lawyers are expected to reply, or you are expected to reply to the allegations in that pre-trial memorandum.
Correct,
Which would
my lord.
require, firstly, the reading of the disclosure.
Correct, my lord.
Are you in a position to pay for your lawyers to attend to your pre-trial memorandum?
Presently, no, my lord. I cannot, I won't be able to.
If you are released from custody, would you be then be in a position?
I will try my level best, my lord, to see how I can mobilize and solicit funding for the payment of my lawyers. Because this incarceration, my incarceration, my lord, is creating a public perception in the minds of our public that this minister is guilty already, because the public is judging you. You are guilty. So that very matter of public judgment will for sure also prejudice me to solicit funds while I'm in custody.
No, it's not at you. It's directed at the state, Mr. Esau. And then again, we have 342 witnesses. How long do you anticipate the trial will take if the state has to call 342 witnesses?
My lord, if you compare this very case with other cases or big cases as they are classified, like the case of the Avet case, it took years. If you look at the Caprivi treason trial case, it's still on today. And this one, it's also said that it's a very serious case. State has got a very serious case based on the allegations and the quantum of the funds or the money involved. So automatically, my lord, with age also of our judges getting older, being replaced, this case might take more than 10 years. The witnesses, 342. It's a lot. I saw the list, my lord, disclosed.
Mr. Esau, Mr. Kayangela of the ACC is saying it's just about 20 to 22 witnesses that are relevant and that will take a bit long. Do you have anything to comment on that, having considered the list yourself?
My lord, I've never ever appeared before the court on charges. But based on what I have experienced in terms of the investigations and being remanded all along, because investigations are not finished, there is still people to be brought to book on this very case who have received proceeds or proceeds from this very case. I am of the opinion, my lord, once more, that the case will take a long, long time. The witnesses will have to be.
The question, Mr. Esau.
Correct.
Mr. Kayangela, I know it's been a long day. Mr. Kayangela saying it's only about 20 witnesses. That will take long. Do you agree with that opinion?
I don't agree with that, my lord. Okay. Because there are, in fact, we are 10 accused. One. Number two, my lord, of the 10 accused, I have my lawyer. The other ones have their lawyers. Every one of us mostly have their own lawyers. So cross-examination, those lawyers must cross-examine me. They come from outside, some of them. Others are inside here. They have also other cases to attend to. Our judges are also occupied. Your Lordship, you are from the north. You have to come up and down. There are interlocutors, my Lord, that needs to be cleared. So the witnesses here in terms of the 20 as alleged only to come and to testify, my Lord, for me as a former minister, having responsibilities on rights and quotas, as alleged, the signing of, I want my team to testify, to cross-examine as many as possible. The state can cross-examine 10 or 20, but for sure we from our side, my Lord, I will have to ask more who have been benefiting from this or said or alleging that I was corrupt. Out of the 342, there are accountants, auditors who have prepared themselves and allege they must also come on board for cross-examination. So 20 as alleged, it's not in fact really a person who understands this case. I have now understand this case. It's a very serious case as well. It's very serious, and it impacts on my life, and we cannot take any shortcuts out of this, my Lord, because justice must be done.
Okay, we can move on, Mr. Esau, to the third point, the third new fact. That particular fact is that you have now been detained in pre-trial incarceration for about 2 years and 5 months from the time of your first failed bail application in July 2020, and that this current bail application, that you've been detained for 2.5 years between your last bail application and this current bail application, and that your trial is yet to commence in some point in time or date to be established, with extradition of co-accused still being attempted by the state. Now, that is one of the new facts that you have raised. Do you know when this trial will start?
My Lord, I confirmed that I am in detention for over 1,100 days of my life as a pre-trial inmate, for about 1,100 days in my life, from my life, ticked off from the calendar of my life. My Lord, I tried for my liberty, for bail. It failed in 2020. And there were reasons why it failed. And I also understand and I accept the fact that we never had the disclosure at that time. But with the disclosure, my Lord, I can see both cases, in both cases, the joint cases, C6 and CC7 of 21 and 21, I can see there is no strong case against me. And, my Lord, I am waiting for the day of this some co-accused.
Mr. Esau, the question was, do you know when your trial will start?
Not at all, my Lord.
Is it in the near future? In fact, before the trial must start, you must first obtain counsel, correct?
Correct, my Lord.
And your counsel must also read those papers.
Correct, my Lord.
Mm-hmm. And you said that will take a bit of time.
Correct, my Lord.
And then you must also answer to the pre-trial memorandum.
Correct, my Lord.
That will take time.
Correct, my Lord.
We've understood, and it has been placed before this court, that there's a current recusal application for the trial judge.
Correct, my Lord.
Okay. So that will also take time.
Correct, my Lord.
Okay. So, having taken all those factors into account, how long do you think it will take before your trial starts with all that going on?
My Lord, the interlocutories must be solved first. The preparations need to be attended to. But you need to have the necessary means also to fund this very preparations. In defense of my case. So it will take a long time, my Lord. It will take, as I've said, I'm not a lawyer, I'm a layman, but based on what I was told, what needs to be prepared and what is needed, can take 10 years.
Is there 10 years to finalize the case or before the trial actually starts?
Before the trial starts, there are...
Just listen to the question, Mr. Esau. I've said that there's a lot of things that must happen before the trial starts. So how do you anticipate, how long will it take before the trial starts? Will it be a year, 2 years? That is basically what we are seeking and what you should address the court on.
My Lord, in terms of the new facts, extradition has not been finalized between Namibia and Iceland. Yes. So that will delay. Secondly, the co-accused in the person of Maren, I don't know where that stands presently, my Lord. I don't know. So as I've stated, before the trial starts, for sure, our legal teams want also to cross-examine this very co-accused pertaining to payments made, pertaining...
That will happen during the trial, Mr. Esau. So before the trial starts, approximately how long?
Can be 3-4 years.
Okay. And for those 3-4 years, if you are not granted bail, will you then remain in custody? I think it's obvious.
The state wants me to relinquish, what's it they call the term, my Lord? Languish. To languish in prison. And I am not really, I'll die for sure. I will be no more. I won't be there at this age of 65. And my health as well, for sure. As I'm standing here, sometimes you feel your heart, you feel you sweating. These are issues that can contribute to the shortening of my life, and I don't know whether I will be able to stand trial. And with all this COVID risk, no, my Lord.
You've also earlier testified that when you went through the medical report that your heart is not in a good condition. You recall that?
Correct, my Lord.
And that your health is ailing.
Correct, my Lord.
And you've now just testified that if it takes, at least from what I understood, 3 to 4 years for this trial to commence, and you've also testified that it might take another 10 years for this trial to finalize.
Correct, my Lord.
You are of the view that you will no longer be alive at that time. Did I understand that correct?
It's 50-50, my Lord.
50-50. Okay. I don't know what I can't recall the life expectancy rate. I think it's 55, 60 or 65.
65.
65, the life expectancy.
Now it's down 10, my Lord. You are going down. Downhill. Okay. And even to mention to the court, my Lord, yesterday after we adjourned here, in the evening, I start just vomiting and I don't know for what. And the chest trying to, as if it's blocking or things like, I have not, but I have to mention it to the court to take note of this. I just started vomiting, I don't know for what reason, for whatever reason. So my health situation can deteriorate in a short space overnight like that. You look healthy, tomorrow you are not healthy. And I have seen that in our family as well. I've observed that.
When you just checking the statistics, it's actually 64 and a half years, the life expectancy in Namibia.
So I'm over the board already, my lord.
My Lord, I believe that we've reached our time slot for the day, my Lord. It's almost 1 o'clock. As we've discussed in chambers, my Lord, that we will adjourn the proceedings today for 1 o'clock. On Monday, we will then proceed, my Lord, and then we will deal with the fish score matter. We have since provided your Lordship with a copy of that file, as well as the state with a copy of that particular file. Bundle 2, my Lord. As it pleases the court.
Mr. Siomunji, Mr. Biekas has submitted that proceedings may be adjourned to Monday. Anything you'd like to say?
In order, my Lord. There's no objection.
Thank you. Mr. Marondeze?
No objection, my Lord.
The matter is postponed to Monday, the 19th of December 2022 at 10 o'clock for continuation of the bail application. The applicants are remanded in custody. We'll adjourn.